Without knowing what I am and why I am here, life is impossible, meaning the possibility of the very principle of life and also for the development of meaning, significance, worthwhileness, authenticity, purpose, aim, intention, character, and essentially everything else that we want and desire and want to build into life that is fundamental, critical, and important to us also is based upon the recognition of who we are, what kinds of problems, conflicts, deficiencies, shadows we have inside of ourselves and from which we're suffering, what we represent, what we want to become, and ultimately what are we going to be, what we are already. We have to be able to come to the realization and recognition and acknowledgement and rectification of all these questions, problems, obstacles, hindrances, etc. And for so long, we're walking away and escaping from ourselves as well as from our shadows and parts of ourselves we repress, deny, and reject and overlook. We're going to have to continue to suffer from the uncertainties and unpredictabilities, pains, torments in our lives from the others' judgments, pains, as well as from ourselves in one way or another. So that's how life works. Life is a systematic process of the universe, and it is certainly not just the blind, unconscious force to live, as said by certain philosophers in the past, but it is based on our own recognition, will, desire, power, perspective, mindset, etc. It is based on the recognition and identification and integration of all our problems, chaos, as well as who we are, what we represent, what we are not, what we could have done, what we could not do, etc. So the list just goes on, but unless we recognize who we are and what we want to become, why we are here, if we cannot find answers to these questions and blindly pursue possession, wealth, riches, success, money, validation, attention, approval, fame in our lives, then we are ultimately going to get nothing of meaning, significance, authenticity, virtue done in our lives, and we're certainly not going to become virtuous, authentic either, because the more we depend upon the others and upon society for these futilities, the more we sacrifice and compromise ourselves little by little, we are obviously disappearing. We are nowhere to be found ultimately because we reinvent ourselves in the other's image because of all these external, conditional, worthless principles and conditions of life. And so that's how it works. So we had to be with ourselves. We had to ask ourselves as to who we are, what we are not. Without the answering of which, life is always going to remain inaccessible, impossible, unreachable for most of us in the world. And it is not just about existential